Welcome in to the TV24 Regional Gridiron Challenge. I'm Carl Brady alongside Gerhard Mathangani, and we are live this morning at Jacksonville State University at Burgess Snow Field at the JSU Stadium for the Regional Gridiron Challenge. Day one of 4 days of football that's going to happen over the course of the next couple of weekends. And Gerhard, it's always an exciting time of year to see what these kids have learned, what they've been doing in the off-season, and get out here in their spring training to wrap up spring training with a big jamboree here at Jacksonville State.
Absolutely. It's always a good time to have at the end of the spring an opponent to play, and that's the biggest thing for all of these teams. You've been banging against each other for the last 8 days or so, and now you get to play a real opponent, find out how you stand, how you measure, and give yourself something to put on film. That way when you go back in fall camp, early August, late August, you start getting ready for those first games, you have something viable to go against, and that's what these spring games represent.
And what we're going to see in our first game today will be the Hatley Tigers from Amory, Mississippi. Came all the way from Mississippi, and there you see the Tigers getting ready to go out on the field. They'll be in the blue and the gold. And the folks from Tarrant High School, the Wildcats from Tarrant High School, they're out there close to Birmingham, just about 75 miles away, so they didn't have a long trip. But the folks from Hatley High School in Mississippi, they drove 3 hours this morning to get here and brought quite a crowd with them as well, I believe. And let's take a look at the rules for our football jamboree for today. Each team will play 4 12-minute regulation quarters. There will not be a halftime. Kicking game will not be 100% live except for the kickoff. Teams will be allowed to kick field goals and extra points, but no rushing. On fourth down, there will not be punting. We'll just simply move the ball 35 yards unless the team decides to go for it on fourth down. And each team will have 1 timeout per quarter, 10 minutes to warm up between games. Clock will start immediately after each game. No tiebreakers, 2 minutes between the quarters. Balls will change possessions in the third quarter, just like there had been a halftime. And now it's time to go to the field for some live football here at Jacksonville State University. And there's the kickoff to the Hatley Tigers. It's going to be picked up at about the 18-yard line. And see, they're not going to do the full kickoff thing there. So they're going to just down the ball, and we'll get started off with Hatley. That was number 15, Chance McNeese, senior wide receiver, who downed the ball and caught the ball there for the kickoff.
Absolutely, and we've seen this before in spring jams past, and we've seen this before in all kinds of spring jamborees or games that don't count. You want to simulate the kicking game, but not necessarily go through it and mitigate risk of injury.
Quarterback is number 7, Will Cantrell. He is a senior. Shotgun formation on the move to the right. He fumbles the snap immediately, and it's recovered by Tarrant, and I believe that is going to be number 51, Jatarius Boyd, who is a sophomore. And here's the replay, just a fumble on the snap there, first play of the game, and Boyd picks it up. And Tarrant, excellent field position, first down at the 29-yard line of the Tigers.
That's exactly the reason why you play these games. It's in order to get the speed down and the timing down. That looked like a small, slight timing issue. They'll be able to fix that and correct that, but good job there by the defense for Tarrant, scooping the ball up and setting their offense up in great field position.
Now the Wildcats, shotgun formation, wide outs to either side. Quarterback is number 4, Darius King. And he's loose on the far side. We have a flag coming in. He's going to be taken down at about the 7-yard line, but that one's going to come back. We have a flag lying there about the 16. Yeah,
we either have a clip or a block in the back or a hold right there on the outside. And it definitely is a holding. But great job by the quarterback getting outside by King. But one of his receivers or his offensive lineman went out there and held on a little bit too much.
So just getting underway with the Regional Gridiron Challenge for 2018. We'll have 3 games for you today. And next Saturday, there will be 4 more games. And then in between that, on Thursday and Friday, we'll have the Calhoun County Spring Jam. 2 games on Thursday night, 2 games on Friday night for you for local Calhoun County football teams. King again in the shotgun formation. Looks to hand off to his running back, but he was on the wrong side. He has to take it himself. He'll get inside the 25-yard line.
We've seen so far in 2 different plays where King shows some athleticism You see it right here. It's kind of a botched play. His guy's not there, just trying to make something out of nothing. Picks up some positive yards.
Running back there is number 15. His name is Eric Johnson. He's a sophomore, and I can only assume that he is the son of head coach Eric Johnson.
Spoke with head coach Eric Johnson earlier. He talked about how they had a large junior class, and they've all decided to play somewhere else. So largely a young team here for the Wildcats.
King fakes the handoff, going to keep it himself. So far, 3 plays and 3 keepers by the quarterback. He'll gain a couple of yards up to just close to the 22-yard line.
It's great gang-style tackling. Everybody carousing on the football, and at this point, Hatley has to know that right now that King is their primary offensive weapon. It's a good job there by the defense, setting up 3rd and short.
3rd down, about 3 yards to go. Ball sitting on the 22-yard line for the Wildcats. Again, they came from the Birmingham area. Tarrant's just a little bit northeast of Birmingham. Two wide outs to the far side, single wide out to the near side for King. High snap, it goes over his head. Running back's going to have to fall on it, so that's Eric Johnson who falls on the ball back at the 36-yard line. Yeah, that'll bring up 4th down and make it about 16 yards to go. So we'll see what they decide to do here. If they choose the punt option, we move the ball 35 yards, which will put it right on the goal line. Or they could choose to go for it.
I think this is probably kind of a no man's land right here. They'll probably elect to go for it here.
In a normal game situation, they would probably try just a short punt, try to get the ball back inside the 5-yard line. But here they're going to go for it. 4th and 16 for the Tarrant Wildcats. Darius King, the junior quarterback, takes the snap, looks to throw this time, goes right over the middle, and it's going to be intercepted, so it was basically a punt anyway. And that looks like, yeah, that is number 13, Alex Cooper, junior free safety, who makes the grab.
That's exactly what a free safety is supposed to do, scan the middle of the field, depending on what coverage you're in.
You'll see the wide receiver here who was intended to catch the ball falls down as the ball is in the air. I don't know if there was some contact, maybe got their feet tangled up or exactly what happened, but he falls down and the ball just goes right directly to Alex Cooper. So Hatley has the ball 1st down near the 7-yard line. Cantrell coming to the near side to the 15, crosses the 20, and he'll step out of bounds at the 24-yard line to pick up a 1st down for the Tigers.
It's a great job there by Nick Washington, number 14, and Matt Turner, number 4. Watch those 2 guys in the lead block coming your way. So watch 14 and 4 really seal it up and pick up a 1st down there for the Tigers.
A great shot right there, coming right at the TV24 cameras. Tommy Castaneda, our sideline camera guy down there as always. Again, shotgun formation. Chance McNeese with the handoff. Play will gain a couple of yards. They're going to mark him up to the 20, somewhere between the 27 and 28-yard line.
Both these teams are really coming off different seasons. Tarrant last year went 7-3, won a region championship. Hatley 4-7, went 0-5 in the region, and won 4 of their first 6 games, but have a really tough region stretch and lost a lot. So lots to improve for both squads.
McNeese on the carry. He's going to be caught behind the line of scrimmage and be taken down back at the 24-yard line.
Yeah, it's picture-perfect defense there by Jatarius Boyd, number 51. He's a rising junior. Our first injured player. Looks like 17, Rashard Christian, rising senior. Getting some help there from Trayman Weston, number 1. Coach Eric Johnson is out there to help, and that's one thing that coaches do not want in spring games. Obviously, you don't want it at any point of the season, but most definitely in spring games or any kind of catastrophic injury. So we hope that's just a slight tweak or a cramp. We'll find out.
Yeah, it's getting warm out here today already for mid-May. We're looking at a temperature currently about 85 degrees, and with the sun shining like it is down there on that artificial turf, it's a lot hotter down there. Here's here is the injury. You'll see what happens. You saw him on the right side of the screen there on the playback. You can see where he got hit so hard from the side, knocked his helmet off.
Yeah, just a block on the side that he wasn't expecting. Coaches always try to tell you to keep your head on swivel for that reason, especially when plays are flowing your way.
Third down and right at 10 yards to go for the Tigers. Magnese on the move, looks to throw the ball. He's got a man open, and that is going to be an incomplete pass. He overthrew him just a little bit. The intended receiver was number 15. That was Magnese, who is the receiver. The quarterback is number 7, Cantrell.
It's a really good.
Change my notes here.
It's a really good play set up there by the Tigers. It's 3rd and 15. He got right to the sticks. It's just a timing issue, and then teams will work on that coming up in the summer. We'll have 7-on-7 camps and ways to work on your timing for quarterbacks and receivers. That's a good play call there by the Tigers.
4th down, they choose to punt. So as per the rules for our spring jamboree games, we're going to move the ball 35 yards to simulate the punt. And they will put the ball down on the 40-yard line, and Tarrant will have another go at it. First down at their own 40-yard line. And we mentioned that this game is the first of 3 matchups today in the Gridiron Challenge. And those other ones include coming up at about 12:30, Haralson County and Abbeville. And then at 2 o'clock, Sumter Central and Boaz. The Pirates of Boaz coming down to play a big game to wrap us up today at 2 o'clock. First down for Tarrant. High snap. Pass to the near side. Pass complete to Tremont Weston. And he'll get out to about the 47-yard line. Nice pickup of 7 yards for the Wildcats.
That was just a simple wide receiver screen. 2 receivers on one side, and really against one defender that was playing about 7 yards off the ball and 1 corner. So essentially it was a 2-on-1 situation. A good play call by the Wildcats and good execution as well.
Again, number 4, Dearius King is the quarterback for the Wildcats. Shotgun formation, single running back there with him. 1 wide out to either side. Bad snap way over his head. That ball rolls all the way back to the 25-yard line, and King tries to recover, but he is going to be tackled way back at the 22, 23-yard line. A huge, huge loss for the Wildcats on another bad snap.
The second possession is mirroring the first in a lot of ways. We saw on the first possession where we had some positive yardage for the Wildcats, and then a snap over the quarterback's head really set them up in position that they were too far away to even attempt a first down. That happened the first series, and then it happens again here in the second series when they get a good play on the wide receiver screen, and then this happens. So that's one of the things that they'll work on in fall camp is that timing between center and quarterback, and not necessarily even timing, is just getting that snap down.
Probably a new center there. And he's just going to have to practice getting that spiral just right and getting the ball down and getting it into the hands of the quarterback. Ball marked on the 24-yard line. 3rd down at about 25 yards to go for Tarrant. Long pass going to the far side. A little contact and intercepted. That is Raiden Prestige with the interception for the Hatley Tigers. And there was a lot of contact right there at the point where the ball was caught. You'll see that here right at the end. And Prestige comes down with it.
the words of Yogi Berra, it's deja vu all over again. It's the second time that happened. Snap goes over the head one play, very next play, deep ball to the middle of the field, and it's an interception. Good job there by the Hatley secondary.
So first down for Hatley at their own 47-yard line, just shy of midfield. Cantrell goes under center this time. Little motion in the backfield. He fumbles the snap, picks it up, and then almost fumbles it again as he is tackled. He'll lose almost 2 yards back to close to the 45-yard line.
Once again, it's Jatarius Boyd, number 51, the last player coming up from the scrum for the Wildcats. A good open field tackle there.
And it looks like Hatley is going to use their one timeout for the quarter with 5 minutes remaining in the first quarter of action here. Again, it is the TV24 Regional Gridiron Challenge. We do it every year. We bring high school football teams from all over the state of Alabama, Mississippi, sometimes Georgia, sometimes Tennessee. They come from all over to play here at Jacksonville State University on this in this fine football stadium, this collegiate football stadium. And we'll have them all for you here on TV24 live games and streaming live online at TV24.tv if you want to call somebody that is outside the area. Let's go down to the field. We haven't mentioned this yet, but John Holder is with us on the sidelines.
All right, guys, you talked about the temperatures down here, about 84 degrees, the kickoff temperature. We are sitting now at about probably 95 as far as what it feels like. The turf here at Burgess Snow Field is really hot to the touch, and the conditions are not going to change. Clear skies, the high at 90 today. We'll see field temperatures making it feel about like 100 later on today, guys.
All right, John, thank you very much. And always count on the weather forecast from John Holder during the football games. Second down and 11 for the Tigers. A toss to the outside. That goes to number 4, Nick Washington, and Washington will pick up the first down at the Tarrant 41-yard line.
This was excellent play calling right here. Just an option play, and the quarterback does a great job of pulling it. Looks like he was going to hand it to the fullback, but he read it or saw it, pulls it, and then makes the pitch off to Washington. Watch this, boom, right there. Everybody collapses on the fullback, and he pitches it out to Washington, who gets great yardage and a first down.
He held on to that one for a long time, too, before he pulled it back. So first down, 41-yard line for the Hatley Tigers. This time he did hand to the first guy through, and that was going to be number 14, Matt Turner, senior fullback.
Hatley is coached by Ken Adams, entering his second year. Adams actually spent 25 years coaching in Alabama, and then he moved over to Mississippi, retired as Alabama coach, and moved over to Mississippi, and trying to rebuild this program. This is a team that's on its third head coach in 4 years, so trying to create some stability there with the Tigers.
Cantrell back in shotgun formation, but they're going to snap it to the running back. He goes right up the left side. Breaks some tackles, gets plenty of running room out of that. He's going to make it all the way to the 20-yard line. It's Nick Washington. So they line up, then they snap the ball to the running back, and nice play there, nice game for Hatley.
So far, the most productive players for both teams are wearing number 4. King for Tarrant and Washington for Hatley. It's a good direct snap there. And then Washington, just a tough tackle. Tough guy to bring down. Took essentially 4 guys there. Picks up huge yardage and a first down. Best field position of the day here.
First down at the 20 for Hatley. Toss coming to the near side. Play will gain down to the 11-yard line. And
looks like 9.5 yards there on the pickup.
Yeah, second down and just a little bit to go. By the way, the Gridiron Challenge is brought to you today by Dunn's Heating and Cooling. They're located in Jacksonville, their main office, but they serve the entire area. Some fine folks there at Dunn's Heating and Cooling. And if your air conditioner goes out here in the heat, they are the folks you need to call. Handoff up the right side, and we're going to be really close to that goal line. I think we're going to be about 6 inches shy, and that is Matt Turner on the carry, 14.
About 2 plays ago on the option, he faked it to the fullback and then went pitch, and this time gives it to the fullback. So this is a great job here by this quarterback, reading the defense, going to what he's given and executing a drive right now that has them on the doorstep of the end zone.
So first and goal, just inches away. And there you have the touchdown. Again, number 14, Matt Turner, diving over the line. And so Hatley on the board first in this Gridiron Challenge.
What I liked about this offensive drive here is you saw so many different kinds of plays. You saw an option play 2 times where the fullback gets the football. You saw 1 time where the fullback doesn't get the football and then they pitch it. Good read there by the quarterback. We saw a direct snap to Nick Washington, really versatile in the offense. And so after a couple of hiccups on their first drive, the Tigers come back and have a solid second drive.
The point afters will be attempted without a rush to kind of save time, to save injuries, and it is good. So let's go back to the sidelines. John Holden.
All right, guys, we were talking about the heat and talking about the timeout that we had at the mid-quarter. One of the things that they've implemented today, the officials, we're going to have a heat timeout. Normally, during the first 3 weeks of the high school season in August and September, there's a heat timeout at the first break after the middle of the quarter. They're going to do that here today. The officials decided, obviously, with the heat that we're going to have out here today, that was a very good idea. So we'll be having a mid-quarter heat timeouts in all these games today.
Thank you for that information, John. And we'll come back with a kickoff in just a moment. But speaking of the officials and that decision, this is we have to talk about that every year. This is practice and spring training for the officials as well. They've been off all winter long, since about December anyway. And so they're coming back out here, honing their skills, learning new things, and practicing all along the way, just like these kids are.
Absolutely. And any good coach will tell you that players and teams get better through repetition. That goes the same thing for officials as well. So everything that they're gaining here, experiencing here, even new officials, guys that are going to be entering their first year officiating football Friday nights, we're all getting the key repetitions during these spring jamborees.
Hatley ready to kick off. And it'll be kicked off all the way back to the 5-yard line. Remember, there will be no return. We're going to bring the ball out anyway for the spring jamboree. And I talked to one of the officials before the game, and just typical conversation. We've known each other for a long time. How's it going? How you been? He's like, the last game I did was in the college football stadium last year. The first game of this year is in the college football stadium. I can't be doing much better. So the officials are happy to be here with us as well today. First down for the Wildcats at the 35-yard line. There you see the quarterback, Darius King. Trips to the near side, single setback with King in the backfield. Short screen pass out to his running back, and it is going to go right through his hands. It's Eric Johnson. Pass was not too high to handle, but just went right through his hands.
This is an offense that averaged over 31 points a game last year. It scored 319 overall on their way to a region championship. And Coach Johnson was telling me before the game that they had lost a lot of guys that were rising seniors in the junior class last year that were rising seniors. So essentially this is a new bunch and a young bunch. King is one of the main players, one of the main starters, and we've seen flashes of them playing well, but then we've also seen some major hiccups by this Wildcat offense.
And we're going to see a timeout taken here. This is a timeout taken by the Wildcats, and we'll take a break with them and be back in just a moment for the Gridiron Challenge, brought to you in part by Dunn's Heating and Cooling.
I'll just be a minute.
What you just did with that clutch was so clutch. Just like when you ditched your old credit card and got the America's First credit card with a low interest rate and cash back on purchases.
The Calhoun County Commission, made up of J.D. Hess, Tim Hodges, Fred Wilson, Don Hudson, and Lee Patterson, ask you to take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. With our beautiful parks, neighborhoods, recreational facilities, historic sites, and museums, our citizens enjoy a high quality of life and strongly supports the arts. If you're considering expanding or starting a new business, take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. You'll be glad you did.
It's time to get after it. So turn it on, crank it up, and let's get after it together. America's first small business services.
And while we were gone, you missed a play, and what you missed was another snap going way high over the quarterback's head. And so Tarrant has the ball back at the 10-yard line now, and they've got to go all the way to the 45 to pick up a first down. So this is the third time in 3 possessions that they have lost a massive number of yards from a bad snap.
Yeah, you just can't start from behind the chains and really even 4 or 5 yards on holding calls or offsides calls. That's one kind of bad, and then this is just a different world because now you've thrown your offense into something that you're not even prepared for anyways. I mean, nobody draws up a play for 3rd and 8 miles. So we'll see what they do here. Just try to pick up some yards before simulating the punt.
King having to throw from inside the 5-yard line. Nobody to throw to. He tucks it and keeps it. And he's going to pick up some good yardage there. Finally runs into trouble near the 25. He'll go down. I guess they're going to mark it looks like at the 25-yard line. So a good job by Darius King there to get out of some trouble deep in their own territory.
Yeah, the Tiger defense really just had to play against 35 yards. So they were really set up far back, and that was great for King, who's able to pick up some yards. It looks like they'll take the punt here.
Yeah, that's set up 4th down, so they'll take the punt, and we'll move the ball 35 yards and turn it back over to the Hatley Tigers. Again, Hatley from Amory, Mississippi. That's in northeast Mississippi and about 15 miles from the Alabama state line, but about a 3-hour drive from here. These guys left Amory, Mississippi around 5 or 6 o'clock this morning to get over here and get ready to play in the Regional Gridiron Challenge.
Just one playoff appearance for this Hatley, Mississippi team in school history. They've been playing football for a pretty long time there, since about 1963. So this is a program that is looking to come on the up and up. About 4 years ago, they made their first playoff appearance, went 6-6 in the past couple of years, had 4 wins in each season.
Cantrell goes with the handoff. Coming to the near side of the field across midfield. Finally going to be taken down at the 43-yard line. And that is number 23 on the carry, Markel Hunt.
Take a look at number 4 here. This is just great upfield blocking. And really what this turns into is a sweep play to the right with your lead blocker in Nick Washington, and then you're just playing against the defense that is presented. And right there, Tarrant wasn't in great position. And just an excellent play call there by the Tigers. The Tigers have been on a groove here. I would say 12, 13 plays over their last 3 possessions have been really strong.
About a minute to go in the quarter before the quarter break. The handoff goes to the first man through the line. There's a fumble. The ball is loose and recovered by Hatley. Again, that was number 23, Markel Hunt, who was able to fall on the ball after it comes loose there at the line of scrimmage. The fullback just lost the handle on it as he got smashed right there at the line. So the play loses back to the 50-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and close to 15, maybe 16 yards to go for the Tigers.
Some of the coaches' notes and coaches' takeaways will be easy for this one. Don't put the ball on the ground. First play of the game, that's what we saw. We've seen some from Tarrant with overhead snaps, a fumble right there. So taking care of the football will be key for both these squads moving forward.
Cantrell again in the shotgun, moving as the ball is snapped to the left side. There's nowhere for him to go. They're just going to run him down the line, and he's going to lose back to the 47-yard line. So a couple of more yards lost on that play. He tried to take the sweep around to the left side, and just nowhere to go. Good movement by Tarrant to run him down the line instead of letting him move upfield.
Absolutely. You want them to move east to west, and then 55, Quindarius Boyd was the guy that comes up with a tackle, just scraping the line of scrimmage and making the play for that Tarrant defense.
The time is going to run down on the quarter, and we'll have a 2-minute break here and be back in just a moment for more of the Regional Gridiron Challenge at Jacksonville State University.
We were looking to sell our starter home and move into our dream home. After looking at all the options, we chose to work with ERA King. ERA means easy, responsive, and attention to detail. ERA King made the entire process of buying and selling a house easy. From helping us decide on a listing price to navigating the final closing, our agent worked with us every step of the way. ERA King. To us, it means always doing the right thing for every client. What will ERA mean to you? Find out at eraking.com.
The job title is Calhoun County Coroner, but I believe it is so much more than just a job title. Jobs can be taught, but this job requires compassion. Unlike a job, true compassion cannot be taught. This position touches people's lives, and how situations are handled will affect people's lives. I have worked in the EMS field for over 15 years. One of my positive traits is my God-given ability to show true compassion in bad situations. I commit to treat your family just as I would want my family to be treated. It's really just that simple. I'm Tom Slick, and thank you for your vote on June 5th.
And we're back. Let's go down to John Holder.
Okay, Carl, you were talking a little bit about the folks coming over from Hatley, Mississippi, right outside of Amory. These are about a 3.5-hour road trip over here. They left about 6 o'clock this morning. Big contingent. They had a fan bus that came over here, a large crowd here from Hatley, Mississippi. And also, they're going to be going down to a local pizza restaurant in Oxford, the team and the fans, to enjoy dinner after the game. So making an economic impact as well here in Calhoun County this afternoon, guys.
Thank you, John. That's what we always like to hear. When we bring in these teams from out of town, they bring their parents, their fans, and everybody with them. They eat while they're here. So all of these kind of events have numerous kinds of impact. These kids get to play some high school football on a wonderful field on live TV and get to visit the beautiful JSU campus. Cantrell moving to the right side, looking to throw, and I think his intended receiver might have been Nick Washington, but it was way underthrown.
Yeah, it looks like Washington and the quarterback just weren't on the same page there. Washington ran that route a little bit deeper, and the throw was a little bit more shallow. Well played there by the Tarrant defense.
So that'll bring up 4th down, and they will choose for the punt. So we'll move the ball 35 yards, and Tarrant will have another opportunity on offense here early in the second quarter of action. While we got a moment here, Gary Harless also mentioned, we're only about 6 weeks out from a devastating tornado that ripped through the campus here at Jacksonville State University. So we're really happy that we were able to play here on the in the football stadium. The football stadium was not damaged, but there was some severe damage all over the campus here at Jacksonville State. A lot of devastation, and even from our vantage point here in the booth, we can see repair work going on in some places. There's still some of the buildings with the roof shingles missing. There are some of the buildings that the roofs were completely missing and blown away. So great job by all the local folks. As you see, a worker right there on one of the buildings taking care of one of the buildings right there. So, 6 weeks out from a devastating tornado that hit the city of Jacksonville, the campus here. So a lot of recovery work still ongoing around us here on the campus and in the city as we have some high school football today. So Tarrant will have another opportunity, first down at their own 20-yard line with flip sides of the field. So they're now moving left to right for you. De'Aris King at quarterback, and we're going to have a delay of game flag coming in. We have two different flags that were thrown. We'll see which one they decide to indicate.
I think one of them is a delay of game, so I believe that one will come first if it's dead ball. Head referee and one of the, I believe that's the umpire, are discussing it right now, and they'll now gather the entire officiating crew guess would be the delay of game would come first. He'll march this thing back 5 yards.
We're going to put it back at the 15-yard line. Here's the indication. It's going to be an illegal motion penalty that they will. That came before the time penalty there. So shotgun formation for King, standing at his own 10-yard line. Immediately hands the ball off to his running back, Eric Johnson, and Johnson is hit just as soon as he's given the ball. They'll mark him down at the 12-yard line for his forward progress. It will still be a 3-yard loss on the play.
Nowhere to go right there, and it's a good job by the Tiger defense collapsing on the strong side of the ball. Now another second and very, very long. And Tarrant has put themselves in this position a number of times where they do get some positive yards and some offense flowing, and then 2 or 3 things. This time it's been a penalty. We've had some botch snaps before to see if they can get some consistency with their offense.
Second down for the Wildcats. King looks to throw, tries it over the middle, almost intercepted again. His intended receiver was number 9, Octavius McCurdy, but that one was broken up by number 3 for Hatley, which is Micah Turner.
That was really well defended all the way around, because even the 2 receivers that were running patterns out in that vicinity were both well covered. And then you see 3 right there just stick his hand out. It's a good job there by Micah Turner.
Third down now at the 12-yard line. We got third down and 18 yards to go to pick up the first. Darius King there, number 4 at quarterback. He ends it off to 24. He is going to gain maybe a couple of yards, and we'll have a late flag coming in at the end of the play. It's Montel Peterson with the carry for the Wildcats.
It's a great job by Raiden Prestige, number 1. Shed his blocker. It looked like it was going to be well blocked. He shed his blocker and then comes up with a tackle. We'll find out here what the penalty is. I'm not sure if this is. It's a personal foul on the defense. Not sure who they call this one on, but
see the end of the play here. I guess some piling on late there, because he was obviously down by the time those other 2 players came in there.
Yeah, we don't have the audio on that one right there, but it might be a situation where the runner was already down, the whistle was already established, and then the 2 guys came up over the top.
So fourth down after the penalty is 4th down and 2 for Tarrant. So they're going to go for it here on 4th down. Peterson goes in motion. Keene takes the snap, takes it to the left side, and he is going to be shy of the first down. He will just barely gain anything on the play, and we'll turn the ball over on downs to Hatley.
That's really impressive there by the Tiger defense. They've been burned on that play specifically by King on the quarterback keeper at least 3 times this game. And King has a bright future ahead. He's a rising senior. But fantastic job there by the Tiger defense, and about 4 or 5 guys right there coming up and making the play on 4th and short.
So first down for the Tigers at the Tarrant 28-yard line. Second quarter action, game number 1 of 3 today in the Regional Gridiron Challenge. Again, this time they snap the ball to the running back. He drops it and tries to establish a run, but he is actually going to lose 2 yards back to the 30-yard line. That's Nick Washington. And what's happening in that play is the quarterback, a lot of times, a lot of the snaps we've seen today, the quarterback starts moving as the ball is being snapped. And he did that again, but they snapped the ball straight back to the running back instead of to him on the move.
Last time we saw that direct snap, Washington took it about 25 yards and set up the Tigers' first touchdown. So it has worked before, but it comes down to timing and making sure that you have the football secured by Nick Washington.
Cantrell under center this time. Second down and 12. Play is going to go nowhere, just right back to the line of scrimmage. They hand off to Matt Turner, the fullback, and they get swamped by Tarrant right at the line.
Speaking to Coach Adams before the game, he really harped on how much he liked the improvement of Cantrell and of Turner and of Washington. And those are some of the main guys that have really stepped up in fall camp, as well as Markel Hunt, number 23. So far, all four of those guys are making plays.
Third down for the Tigers.
Number 4, Washington on the carry. Tackle is made by
Nick Washington is going to gain up to the 20, gain down into about the 22-yard line. We'll see exactly where they put it down. It's going to be between the 22 and 23-yard line. Now, there'll be fourth down and about 4.5 yards to go for the Tigers. And under the circumstances with the way we do things in the Jamboree, they're just going to go for it here.
Last time the Tiger defense stepped up on fourth down and made a big play to get the turnover on downs. Can Tarrant do it here?
And that is going to be an illegal motion against Hatley. One of their guys on the offensive line moved too quickly.
And that will infuriate a coach in any situation, but especially on fourth down and fourth and short. You have maybe a handful of plays that you go to in that situation, and then now it completely changes the ball game, and it's 4th and 9 now. You have to make sure on fourth down everybody's a little bit more antsy. You have to know what the snap call is.
So fourth down and 9.5 to go now for the Tigers. Cantrell looks to throw. He's coming to the near side. He's got an open receiver, and it's in and out of his hands. Well covered. That was intended for number 3, Micah Turner. As you can see here, he was well covered. The pass was placed very well, but just right off the fingertips of the receiver.
That's a great play call there by Ken Adams, because not only was that play a makeable one, even though it would be a little bit difficult on the catch, Chance McNeese was wide open, number 15, in the middle of the coverage there. So they'll go back and look at that one. I'm sure that's a play that they'll circle because it was wide open on that defense. And it's a good play call there on 4th and 9 because you had one set up for 4th and 5, and then you had to change it up a little bit on the scheme. So we'll see what the Tarrant offense does here with the Hatley Tigers stalling and then turning it over.
First down at their own 28-yard line for the Wildcats. Darius King, quarterback. Wide outs to both sides. Looks to throw. He's going to fumble the ball. Is he going to recover it? He tried to hold the ball down in one hand. He was trying to scramble around a little bit and drop the ball. I think he gets back on it, but we have a flag early on right after the snap as well.
Yeah, the umpire threw one and the head referee threw one.
Be another illegal procedure, this time against Tarrant. While they sort that out, the Tarrant team is a 2A team here in Alabama. They play in Region 5 to give you an idea of the size of these teams and the comparison here. In Mississippi, Hatley plays in 3A, and so smaller level schools, but showing us some good football today.
Yeah, Tarrant's one of those, it's a school that has dealt with a lot of change over the last few years. In 2010 and 2011, they were a 4A school. Then they dropped to 3A in 2012 and 13, and now they've been 2A for the past 4 years.
King again looking to throw, finds an open receiver at the near sideline. It's complete, but he's going to go backwards and backwards. He almost drops the ball. They'll give him forward progress to the 25-yard line, though. So all that work and about a 1-yard gain on the play for Montel Peterson.
This Tiger defense has been playing better and better as this game has gone along. Really gashed on the run in the first couple of series, but here have done a great job playing both the run and the pass. And right there, you see coming up with a big play to keep Tarrant behind the chains on 3rd and long.
Third down, about 13 yards to go. Both of these teams are going to identify holding on to the ball as something they're going to have to work on over the summer months. Third down for the Wildcats. King again dropping back, gets some pressure, going to have to throw it, and it drops short. Now that'll bring up 4th down and 13 for the Wildcats.
This is really well covered by the Tiger defense once again, and the Tiger defense, especially in secondary, has been really impressive. They've already come up with 2 interceptions. They've played well against the run. also played well against the pass. They are nowhere really for King to go, and King just does a good job of not turning it over. And the Wildcats will elect to punt, and we'll see Ken Adams and that defense and that offense come back out.
Coming up later today at 12:30, we'll see Haralson County. They're out of Georgia, right? Is that right, Gerhard? You familiar with that?
That's correct.
Haralson County out of Georgia versus Abbeville. That's at 12:30. Chase Robinson and Mickey Shadricks will have the call on that. At 2 o'clock this afternoon, Sumter Central and Boaz will take the field. And then we'll continue the Gridiron Challenge next Saturday with 4 games next Saturday starting at 11:30 in the morning. Cleburne County and Good Hope, Central Clay and Ray County, Montgomery Catholic and Callaway and Gardendale and Lawrence County next Saturday. And in between that, on Thursday and Friday, we'll have the Calhoun County Spring Jam. All the Calhoun County teams playing here over the course of 2 nights. 4 our TV cameras as well. The Tigers, their first down play is going to gain them about 8 yards out to near the 48-yard line. Bring up second down and 2.
Great job there by Nick Washington. And we've seen him make several plays. One of the most impressive plays that I saw him make was dropping the ball and then picking it up mid-play and picking up some yards there. He's one of the primetime playmakers that Coach Adams says that will be one of the guys called upon in several different roles, and we've seen him in such roles so far here in this jamboree.
Cantrell under center. A little shift by the offensive line. Handoff to the fullback. No, he keeps it. That little option there. He decided to pull it back from the fullback, and he's going to gain to near the 44-yard line and pick up a first down for the Tigers.
Cantrell's been so impressive on this option play. As we have a flag here, we'll diagnose what this is. But on these option plays, Cantrell has done a fantastic job of knowing when to pull it and knowing when to give it to the fullback. They've given it to the fullback twice, one time on a touchdown, and twice they've pulled it. And that's the second time they've pulled it there, so we'll find out. It looks like this will be a penalty on the offense.
It was going to be a holding against the offense, so we'll negate the play, and they're going to take their heat timeout right now, too, with 5 minutes left in the quarter. So we're taking the timeout here for the Heat. As you know, here we are in mid-May, and after a very cool early spring, cooler than normal, the Heat is here for real now. Let's go back down to the sideline and talk to John Holder.
Okay, guys, we talked about the tornado that came through just a couple of months ago. Really no damage here to the stadium except for one thing. The folks at Acker Electric Company were telling me that the lights right across on the visitor side here, those stands of lights over there, those lights, actually a few of those got blown out of place there. No really damage done, but they're going to have to turn those lights around and reset those lights back the way they originally were. And those folks from Acker were telling me that that's a bigger job than you would think, but thankfully, of all the damage we had here, and we had many, the vast majority of buildings on campus damaged here, that was the only damage we had here at Burgess Snowfield at JSU Stadium, guys.
As you see, another worker working on top of one of the buildings here on campus. Out of 71 buildings on campus, 50 of the buildings had damage, and a couple of them were completely destroyed. If you have a chance to be on campus, you will see some of that destruction. Trees down everywhere, and again, the recovery efforts still ongoing. A lot of the damage has been cleaned up. The trees are down. They've been hauled off, and there is a look at the Houston Cole Library. The damage on the top of the library there as the tornado went practically right over the library, right beside it that day on March 19th, earlier, about 6 weeks ago. Second down for the Tigers. It's going to pick up a first down, and that is the running back, Nick Washington, again.
Tell you what, he's probably been the most productive player of the day so far. Nick Washington, he and King for Tarrant. Once again, this is just another direct snap, and Washington does two things really well that I've seen. Actually, 3 things, because he's a great blocker when he's put in that fullback role. Then he's also a solid runner, but he has great vision as well. So a lot to look forward to and a lot of ways to utilize this guy, both on direct snaps and running the football and even catching the ball out of the backfield.
Number 7, Will Cantrell is the quarterback under center. Man goes into motion. There's a handoff. He's going to be hit behind the line of scrimmage just as soon as he gets the ball. That handoff went to Micah Turner, 3.
Randy Washington there for the Wildcats, really stepping up, a rising sophomore. There's a small hiccup, about maybe a half-second hiccup between the exchange of quarterback and running back, and Washington was all over it.
Second down at 11 to go from the 41-yard line for Hatley.
Ken Adams electing to call the plays for this Tiger offense, but they don't do it with any kind of headsets. They don't do it with any kind of signs or symbols. He literally just tells the quarterback, comes out about midway, tells the quarterback what the play is, really old school style, and the quarterback goes back to his offense.
There's another direct snap to the running back, and he'll gain to the 30-yard line. Nick Washington again, and that has been an effective play for the Tigers throughout the day so far.
Let's add another thing to the list of accolades for Nick Washington, or list of things that he does well. He always falls forward.
We're going to be really close to the first down, and they are going to give them the first down. The ball is on the 30-yard line, so it'll be first down for the Hatley Tigers, all the way from Amory, Mississippi, playing here in our Gridiron Challenge. And they are at the Tarrant 30-yard line. Just under 4 minutes to go in the second quarter of action here in the Gridiron Challenge. Game number 1 of 3 today in the Regional Gridiron Challenge on TV 24. Yeah, that moving snap for Cantrell, and he's going to get inside the 25-yard line to the 24. That'll be a 6-yard gain for the Tigers.
I'll tell you, anybody that loves old school football is loving what they're watching right now from this Tiger offense. It's a single wing. In a lot of situations, I think they've gone to the snap, to the shotgun maybe just a handful of times. They put the ball in the air probably less than 5 times today. They really utilize a strong running game. They have a big offensive line. They run behind them. They do a good job of the option play. So they run both inside and out. Solid offense here by the Tigers, and something that Coach Ken Adams has implemented well.
A reverse handoff to number 3, Micah Turner. Turner is going to gain to about the 20-yard line. Looks like it'll probably be enough for another first down. And it looks like they are indicating the first down. So first down at the 20 for the Hatley Tigers. You know, and we're happy to be able to bring these games to you here 6 weeks after the tornadoes as well, because one of the production trucks that we normally use for sporting events like this was completely destroyed by a tornado, trees falling on it and things like that. So we are very pleased to, just on the technical side, of being able to continue to bring you this kind of action, high school football live on TV here in East Alabama. Go with another handoff for the Tigers. Play will gain a couple of yards into the 18-yard line.
Number 14, Turner on the carry.
As the fullback, Matt Turner, got the call on that one.
Second down, 8.
Regional Gridiron Challenge here on TV 24 at Jacksonville State University. A great opportunity for these kids to come out and play some football, their spring game on a very nice college stadium. Second down for the Tigers. About a 3-yard gain on the play there for Cantrell. Will Cantrell, the senior quarterback.
3-yard gain play.
That'll make it 3rd and 5 for the Hatley Tigers.
This is a chance right here for the Wildcat defense to step up, because the Tigers have gotten into this mode where they're okay with 2- and 3- and 4-yard pickups and really just grinding out a defense, and that can become demoralizing. So here the Wildcat D has a great chance to put it in 4th down situation.
Heavy on the right side for the Tigers. Another direct snap to Washington, and he's going to carry it all the way in for a touchdown. So another touchdown for number 4. That is Nick Washington, the junior tailback. The point after will be attempted with no rush, as per the rules of our Gridiron Challenge Spring Jamboree.
We don't have any official Player of the Game awards, but we're handing them out right now. It'd be that guy, number 4, Nick Washington, has been utilized in so many different ways. Been utilized And that running back role, a true tailback role, has also been utilized as a fullback and the lead blocker in a lot of situations.
Nice looking kick. The point after is up and good, and Hatley goes up 14-0 with just over a minute left in the second quarter of action. Remember, we will not have a halftime here. We'll just have our normal 2-minute break and go right into the third quarter with a change of possessions and play 2 more 12-minute quarters here in these Jamboree games, the spring games. And this one, of course, between the Hatley Tigers and the Tarrant Wildcats. The Regional Gridiron Challenge is brought to you in part by the folks at Dunn's Heating and Cooling. Their office is located in Jacksonville, but you can see those beautiful Dunn's Heating and Cooling blue trucks all over East Alabama. Talked to them the other day, and they said they are covered up with air conditioning work right now. So you can give them a call and get on their schedule if you're having some trouble with your air conditioning. And as a matter of fact, I had them out to work on mine just last week. As it came time to start using the air conditioning, it wasn't getting cool enough. They sent a technician out, and it just needed a little boost of some coolant in it there. Got me all taken care of last week. It's nice and cool in my house now.
Always good for this time of year, especially as hot as it's been this week. And one of the things that I know that both coaches have really harped on, and knock on wood, we haven't had any issues, is hydration. And so far, both teams seem to be healthy and in good position with their hydration and their muscles. We have the simulated kick here, and once again, I know it looks weird on television. They'll call the ball dead here, but essentially what this is to get the kicker some repetitions, to get the kick coverage team some repetitions, as well as to get the kick return unit and the returners a chance to field the ball. We won't play it out live, but that's exactly what that is here in these spring football games.
You know what? Let's go down to the sidelines again with John Holder.
All right, we're down the sidelines. Folks from Abbeville getting ready for our next game here. Filling up the ice water, right? A lot going on down here. How many buckets are you going to fill up to begin with?
Well, we're going to do 4. We've already got 2 Gatorade ready to go. Get 2 water ready to go. About 5 gallons of each. And so we'll be ready.
Probably have to refill this before this is over. I'll tell you, that looks really nice, that water in there and all that ice, because it is hot down here, and I know the players will enjoy that. So already getting ready to cool these players off for game number 2 between Abbeville and Haralson County, Georgia, guys.
Thank you, John. Play on the field. It's an incomplete short pass, King to Eric Johnson. It was just a little over the head of Johnson. He wasn't able to handle it, so we bring up second down at 10 yards to go at the 35-yard line for Tarrant.
Wildcats might have got away with one that looked like a lateral right there. Either way, 2nd and 10.
King coming to the near side. He's going to keep this one himself all the way. Nice run, taken down from behind. And he will go down just across the 45-yard line. That's enough for a first down for Tarrant.
A well-designed play there by the Wildcats, and well executed there by King. A couple of lead blockers. This is a run all the way. There's no option on this. Good
nice
job.
Nice tackle from behind by number 10, Hayden Parker. For the Tigers. First down, 46-yard line for Tarrant. Darius King, shotgun formation. Gives it to his running back, who's got some room on the near side. And he'll make it to the 44-yard line. Eric Johnson on the carry, the sophomore.
So far, this has been the best offensive possession for the Wildcats thus far. Dip under 30 seconds to go here.
Back-to-back first downs. So we get near the end of the first half of play. First down at the 43-yard line. We're going to snap off one more play here. And this time the handoff goes absolutely nowhere. It's like DeMario Freeman. Yep, DeMario Freeman on the carry there, and he'll be hit just as soon as the ball is handed to him, and the clock winds down. And that will be the end of the second quarter of action and technically the end of our first half. Remember, no halftime here. We're just going to have a 2-minute break between the quarters and come back to play in just a moment.
I'll just be a minute.
What you just did with that clutch was so clutch. Just like when you ditched your old credit card and got the America's First credit card with a low interest rate and cash back on purchases.
The Calhoun County Commission, made up of J.D. Hess, Tim Hodges, Fred Wilson, Don Hudson, and Lee Patterson, ask you to take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. With our beautiful parks, neighborhoods, recreational facilities, historic sites, and museums, our citizens enjoy a high quality of life and strongly supports the arts. If you're considering expanding or starting a new business, take a look at what Calhoun County has to offer. You'll be glad you did.
I was finally ready to buy my first home after renting for the last several years. As I started my search, I got overwhelmed by how many websites and confusing listings there are. That's when I found the experts at ERA King. To me, ERA means expertise, reliability, and activity. I depended on them to find a home in my budget, and they didn't stop working until the keys were in my hands. ERA King. To us, it means always doing the right thing for every client. What will ERA mean to you? Find out at eraking.com.
I'm District Judge Chris McIntyre. I hear some of the worst and most heinous felonies in our county, but I also hold trials for less serious misdemeanors. Some of these misdemeanors are disputes among friends, family, and neighbors. When one of these disputes can be settled with an apology and a handshake, I feel that justice has been served, and I'm proud to have done my job. I'm District Judge Chris McIntyre. Please vote to re-elect me on June the 5th.
It's time to get after it. So turn it on, crank it up, and let's get after it together. America's First Small Business Services.
Welcome back into the Regional Gridiron Challenge live at Jacksonville State University as game number 1 of 3 is underway. We are at our unofficial halftime. We're not going to have a full halftime break here, just a couple of minutes between the quarters. We mentioned earlier the tornado damage here on campus for the March 19th tornado and one of our production trucks that got destroyed. That's it. There's a picture of it right now. One of our big production trucks, a big old tree laying on top of it, and that thing was completely totaled by the tornado. But luckily we were able to continue broadcasting and bring you these games live here on TV 24 and streaming live online at tv24.tv. You can find the streaming link right there on our website, or you can go directly if you want to use your live stream app. The live stream app, just go there and search for WEAC TV 24. And while we're talking about tornado stuff, this is one of the apartment buildings nearby. A couple of the apartment complexes just off campus were completely destroyed. And folks, if you didn't see that devastation in the immediate aftermath of the tornadoes, we could not do it justice by talking about it. But there's one of the apartment complexes that is having some work done. And one of the cranes that's being used over close to the Houston Cole Library to do some work on the buildings over that way. So the devastation on campus was incredible. And there are a lot of different organizations locally that still need volunteers. They still need donations for the students who were displaced, for people in the community. So you can check with that. The best thing to do here in the state of Alabama is just call 211. It's 211, first call for help. Call 211, tell them you want to help out the folks in Jacksonville, and they will put you in touch. FEMA is already in town. FEMA is in town. That is tar paper. They're telling us that the dorms are being covered with tar paper, but they don't have shingles on them yet, as the roofs are being replaced on the dorms here on campus. But again, the FEMA disaster recovery centers are open here in Calhoun County, in the Jacksonville area, and over in Etowah County in the Southside Riddles Bend area as well. So FEMA is in town, and anybody who has disaster damage encouraged to visit one of those disaster recovery centers to sign up for the FEMA help if you need it. And of course, anybody, they still need volunteers. Gerhard, one of the things they talk about in the immediate aftermath of a disaster, the first 2 or 3 weeks, they're inundated with volunteers. But then after that, people kind of scatter, and residents are kind of left on their own. So this is a long-term recovery. And, some of the area is still recovering from the April tornadoes of 2011. That was 7 years ago. So this is a long-term recovery, and they're going to need volunteers for a long time to come. So people need to keep that in mind. And this summer would be a good time to do some volunteer work in one of the tornado areas. Great
Response, obviously, by the entire community. But as you said, this volunteer work will go on. The work will go on for a long time. We've shown, the truck, and we've shown the buildings that were damaged. And as we said, 71 total buildings, 50 were impacted one way or another by this tornado, by this storm. Also several residential areas that sit behind the Stone Center, if you're familiar with the campus. And so Jacksonville and Jacksonville State were hit really hard, and you pointed it out, and I think it's a good job by the community thus far, but still more hands are needed on deck to make sure to get back to normal.
Second down and 10 to go for Tarrant, and this play is going to go backwards. Nowhere to go. They're going to lose 4 yards back to, make it 3 yards back to the 32-yard line. So it'll be third down and about 13 yards to go for Tarrant. As we talked about the tornadoes, more than 500 individual homes in Jacksonville were impacted. 49 of those were completely destroyed, and the rest of those had some kind of major impact or damage in this community. That is a massive impact by a tornado in an individual community like that.
Absolutely.
Widespread damage and loss. And recovery efforts still underway, of course, because it will be a long-term recovery. So back to football, third down for Tarrant. King goes over the middle, and he's intercepted again for the third time today. That interception by Dylan Denton for the Hatley Tigers.
Yeah, that one was just a great read by the linebacker, just sitting right there in the middle of the zone, and he's the Mike linebacker. He just read the quarterback's eyes and stood right in front of it. It looks like the intended receiver there was number 33, DeMarcus Reynolds. Fantastic job there by the Mike linebacker, just sitting right in his zone. And Dylan Denton comes up with the third turnover, as you said, for this Tiger defense.
Denton is a junior. He'll be a junior when he comes back to school in the fall. So it's first down for the Tigers at the 23-yard line. Cantrell under center. And the toss coming to the near side to the 20-yard line into the 15. And Nick Washington again with another nice pickup on the play. And he'll be marked out at the 15-yard line.
And that was well defended by the Tarrant defense. They were able to scrape and get out there. Nick Washington able to find some yards, and it's great blocking. Look at here. You have 63 pulling. Great job. But the thing is about this Wildcat defense is you have to step up and come up and make that tackle. This is a guy that's been making plays really all game long, and so when you have a guy like that, you have to come up on him. You can't wait and drop back and let him come to you.
Second down and 2 to go. Again, this time the handoff goes to Washington, and he is not going to make it back to the line of scrimmage. That play will lose about a yard. They get third down.
For the third time today, Jatarius Boyd, a rising junior, number 51, comes up with a play in the backfield. He's been a very, very good inside player for this Wildcat defense.
Third quarter action. The direct snap right to the running back, and this time it's going to bring out the yellow flags. Illegal procedure against the Tigers, so I've been waiting on that to happen because everybody kind of starts moving on that play. And you got to make sure the ball has already been snapped before you start leaning too far on your movement.
Absolutely. You can lean left to right. You can go east to west, but you can't go north and south of the football if you're behind the line of scrimmage. And so you've mentioned a couple times how that's really how they kind of get the momentum of that offense going. And it becomes even more imperative to be well-timed.
And Cantrell slides down on the turf back at the 23-yard line. That can be a little tricky to play on down there if you're not used to it. When you plant your feet, you got to make sure you plant your feet well and get a good grip in that rubberized turf down there. It's going to bring up 4th down. And Tarrant is going to, Hatley going to do the simulated punt from here. No, they're going to kick a field goal. They're going to try the field goal, our first field goal attempt. Now, it gives us a chance to talk about this this kicker so far. This is going to be, a 37-yarder, and he nails it. Nice job by number 84, the kicking specialist, Luke Moffitt, who's just a sophomore. And Gerhard, I was hoping we would have a chance to talk about him a little bit. Just looking at the point afters of the kickoffs we've seen so far, they've been right on point, and that's been with no rush or anything, no pressure on him like that. But he's got a nice-looking style, and the kick looks really good as it travels through the air.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a very, very, very useful tool in high school football. If you can get a guy that can hit it from 35 and from 40 and even from 45, which that looks like he's got the leg for it, that's about as good of a weapon as you can get, because you don't have to put so much pressure on your offense to get the ball so deep into the red zone in order to come away with points. And so Luke Moffitt will be one of the guys that this Tiger team leans on, especially as they cross the 50-yard line and get themselves into what his range is.
And, we don't see a whole lot of good kicking in high school football anymore, so it's nice to see a good kicker. Usually you've just got one of the other players who happens to have strong legs who's out there kicking, but looks like Moffitt is training specifically to be a kicker. Yeah, doing a good job with it so far.
And it's a really specialized talent, because it's kind of like golf in a sense, where you have to repeat it over and over again, but it is football in the sense that everything needs to work. You need to have the snap on time, you need to have the hold, you need to have the blocking, and so there's a lot of elements that go into making a good kicker, and it looks like Moffitt is one of those guys.
And there was the attempt at kind of a short kick. Remember, we're not doing a full kickoff here. There's no returns or anything like that. And look, I noticed this earlier. On these kickoff simulations, the Hatley team has been directed, they sprint all the way to the goal line. Even though there's not a return, they do their coverage and they sprint all the way to the goal line.
That is coaching right there. And I'm glad you pointed that out, because I noticed that the last time. They ran all the way to the end of the goal line, and that's nothing but coaching right there, because you want to enforce good habits. Because the thing is that in real games, you're not going to have where the ball gets kicked and then there's just a dead ball. So you want to simulate good habits. In order to simulate good habits, you have to pretend that ball goes all the way down to the 1-yard line and you're going to cover from down there. So great job there by the Tiger defense, instilling some habits and good discipline there, as we have a false start call here on Tarrant. Looks like the wide receiver, number 1, Traymon Washington, was a little early on the count.
Bring up a first down and 15, and now from the 30-yard line for the Wildcats. TV 24 Gridiron Challenge is brought to you in part by the folks at Dunn's Heating and Cooling. Be sure to visit them if you're having some AC problems this spring. King is going to keep it. He runs right up the middle, finds a hole in the line, and he's going to get out to near the 43-yard line. Nice pickup by the quarterback, King, and really shorten up that distance, make it 3rd down and about 3 yards to go.
Really where this has been most useful for Tarrant so far has been in 3rd and forever situations when they're facing 2nd and 25, 3rd and 35, whether it's because of a botch snap or they're behind the chains from a penalty perspective. That's the first time that he's been able to do that in that situation where he sets up a 2nd and short. So we'll be interested to see what the Wildcats do here. And looks like, unfortunately, actually, looks like this will go on the defense.
Yeah, offsides on the defense.
So they just gave him the first down.
So that is going to give Tarrant the first down. Move the ball up to the 47-yard line. And that'll move the chains. First down for the Wildcats.
How are you? Hey, John Holder, how are you? Good.
And before we even can snap the ball, there's another flag coming in from the far side. Another offside. Somebody on the defensive line is setting up in the neutral zone.
I know John will talk to both coaches later, but I can already go ahead and tell you one of the things that's going on in their mind right now is that we have to clean up 2 things, clean up 2 areas. This is both Coach Johnson and Coach Adams. Number 1, we have to take care of the football. There's been a lot of turnovers in this game, and 2, the penalties have been outstanding. And so 2 things that both teams will look to clean up, and this is exactly what spring games are for.
Mario Freeman on the carry. He's going to gain 2 yards to the 45-yard line. And that'll bring up 2nd down and only 3 to go for Tarrant.
The guy that came up with the interception, Dylan Denton, number 8, comes up with the tackle there from his Mike linebacker position. He's played a strong game so far.
2nd down, 3 to go for Tarrant. 3rd quarter action here at Jacksonville State University. JSU Stadium, Burgess Snowfield, the TV24 Regional Gridiron Challenge, our annual spring event of high school football. This year we're going to have 4 days of high school football. We got today, we got next Thursday, next Friday, that's the 17th, the 18th, and then we'll wrap it up on Saturday the 19th. King looks for an open spot, and he finds it and turns on the speed, gets inside the 40-yard line. He'll go down near the 47. That's a first down for Tarrant.
This is kind of looking a little bit like what Hatley's 2nd drive of the game when they scored their first touchdown looks like, mixing up the kinds of runs that they're executing outside and inside. So we'll see if Tarrant can hit pay dirt and get into the end zone. This offense has kind of been knocking on the door. They've shot themselves in the foot a few times, but so far this is the best looking drive for this offense.
I think that's the first time, too, we've seen a potential of what Darius King can do, because he spotted that open hole and he turned on some speed we haven't seen out of him up to this point in the game. King looks to throw, goes to the air to the far side. He's got an open receiver and he overthrows him. The intended receiver was Octavius McCurdy, and McCurdy gets up slowly, even though there was no contact down there. May have twisted a knee or twisted an ankle. That brings up 2nd down and 10, but McCurdy had the defense beat, and had that ball fallen into his arms the way it should have, that would have been a touchdown.
Yeah, they drew that up perfectly, and you saw King has a really strong arm on him. Had one-on-one coverage, exactly what you want, and McCurdy was able to get past the guy in the secondary, just a little bit overthrown. But we've seen King's speed, as you mentioned on the last play, and then there he has a strong arm, got that all the way to the goal line. Timing will be one of the things that will be the points of emphasis for these 2 squads.
2nd down for the Wildcats. King takes it to the far side, and he's going to gain about 4 yards into the 34-yard line. Bring up 3rd down and 6 for Tarrant.
Saw for both squads, whether it was Hatley and now you're seeing it here on a good shot by Tarrant. Both head coaches are the guys that call the play. This Eric Johnson right there for the Wildcats, and Ken Adams for the Tigers.
Shotgun formation, as we have seen all through the day. Trips to the near side for the Wildcats. Single wide out to the far side. Tailback side by side with King.
And listen, this is how it's not a delay of game.
Took a lot of time there. King going over to the right side again. Open receiver, and he overthrows him one more time, and I don't know if that was so much an overthrown ball as it was the receiver just turned his back, turned around too quickly and didn't run and get under the ball like he should have done. Montel Peterson kind of lost his footing there and had already turned around instead of running to the ball. You see him turn around here, and he should have just kept right on running. So we've got our Heat timeouts here at the Gridiron Challenge. We'll take the timeout with them and be right back. Jacksonville State University.
I'm Chris McIntyre, your district judge. In my 5 years on the bench, I've heard and disposed of over 25,000 felony, misdemeanor, and traffic criminal cases, holding preliminary hearings, sending thousands of criminal defendants to the grand jury for indictment, conducting bench trials, and giving victims their rightful day in court. I'm committed to justice, and I'm committed to making Calhoun County a safer place for my family and for all of you. Please re-elect me, Chris McIntyre, as your district judge on June the 5th.
When it comes to great tasting barbecue, nobody does it better than Dad's Barbecue. Dad's Barbecue is slow cooked to perfection, and Dad's menu now includes burgers, shakes, and delicious cheddar muffins. Large groups are always welcome, and Dad's does catering too. And Dad's offers fast, friendly service, and they're kid-friendly. Dine in or drive-through. Dad's Barbecue, family owned since 1985, with 2 locations in Anniston to serve you.
All right, game number 2 coming up here today. Haralson County, Georgia, taking on Abbeville. A familiar face to folks here in East Alabama. Head coach of the Haralson County, Georgia Rebels, Scott Peavy, a guy that coached at Welborn, coached at Oxford the last couple of years, and then also, of course, played right here at JSU. A lot of roots here in East Alabama. I know it's good for you to come back and play here at Burgess Snow Field.
Oh, yes, sir. It's exciting for me, and I have a coach on staff that also played here, Darren Edwards, so we're excited to be here.
All right, the heat, that's what everybody's talking about. And you're in Georgia like we are in Alabama, only really about 9 days to get ready for this. What do you do in a situation like this?
Well, you know, we practice in the heat, but, you know, you spend your whole offseason training, you know, for this moment. So hopefully our kids will be able to handle it. You know, we don't take any breaks during the year. You know, our kids work hard all year long. So hopefully that won't be an issue.
You kind of changed the philosophy a little bit. I believe that, second year now at Haralson County, kind of changed the offense a little bit. What are we going to see today out of the Rebels?
Well, we're going to try to learn to run the football, and so we're going to try to be as physical as we can be. And we spent a whole year in the off season training in the weight room, trying to be a big, physical, strong team. So we're going to try to establish the run game and see how that works for us.
We'll talk with you after the game coming up in about a quarter and a half. Haralson County, Georgia, and Abbeville here at the Spring Gridiron Classic. Coach Peavy, thank you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, John. As we look at the quarterback for the Tarrant Wildcats there, Darius King. Here you see the run by King that resulted in a touchdown for Tarrant.
They've been knocking on the door for a long time, and you talked about his speed earlier in this possession, and you kind of figure one of these would break for him, and King does a great job there and gets into the end zone. And this is good for this Tarrant offense. This Tarrant offense is so used to scoring. I mean, we talked about last year. They averaged 31 points a game last year, scored 319 points total on the season, won a region championship. So this is an offense that's used to putting the ball in the end zone. So here, good job in the spring with a lot of players that were on last year's team that are not on this year's team for this offense to break through against a strong Tiger defense. Some reassuring signs there for Tarrant.
I think one of the things that we can point out here about this, these two differences between these two teams as well, is, we've talked about Hatley and the way on the kickoffs they run the ball, they run it all the way out to the goal line. They're running on and off the field and things like that. And we're seeing quite a bit of a difference with the Tarrant team. They're walking on and off the field, being very lackadaisical, taking their time, getting around. We should have kicked this and been done with it a long time ago. And, wow, he kicked that one way off to the side. And saying all that to lead into, we do have a rule change that we've had to make already because the games are taking longer than anticipated. So trying to stay on schedule. We're already, in this one game, we're going to be almost, 30 minutes behind schedule by the time this is over with. So from here on out, they're telling us that we're not going to even do the simulated kickoffs anymore. We're just going to put the ball on the 35-yard line for the other team and go. And some of these things are taking too much time to work into the schedule, so that we don't run the whole day. By the time every game's half an hour longer than expected, we're an hour and a half long at the end of the day. So making that quick rule change to adjust for the timing issues for the day today. So
this also to be curious for their time as well. I mean, the Hatley fans, Hatley players came all the way from Mississippi, Haralson County coming all the way from Georgia as well. So trying to respect their days and get these guys back in a timely fashion.
First down carry for the Hatley Tigers results in about a 2-yard gain to bring up second down for the Tigers. As you're just joining us, Hatley Tigers are from Amory, Mississippi, about 3 hours away from here. So a long drive early this morning to be here to play in our Gridiron Challenge. This time the direct snap goes to Washington again, who will get to the 44-yard line. He'll be just a yard shy of that first down for the Tigers.
We don't have a number 20 on our roster, but he's the only guy that saved a touchdown there for the Tarrant defense. Comes up there and makes a big play because it was nothing but green grass for a player that's made a lot of plays and scored a touchdown so far, Nick Washington.
Third down and a yard to go for the Tigers. Cantrell is going to keep it himself, and he will gain all the way out to midfield. About a 6-yard gain on the play for a first down for the Hatley Tigers. We talked about Hatley bringing a good crowd with them from Mississippi, and as we look around the stadium, what you can see with the cameras might not seem like there's a good crowd here because we're in this giant college stadium, but for a high school game, they're all scattered out, and many of them are up against the press box in the shade. So they're staying up in the shade up under where we are right now. If you look out, you can see most of the folks are sitting in the red seats, the Gamecock Club seats here at Jacksonville State. First down right at midfield for Hatley. There's a handoff to Turner. He tries to turn it upfield. Hard hit there as he crosses the line of scrimmage, and that's Quindarius Boyd. He's a freshman who got a hard lick right in the face for a freshman right there. He's ready to play football in the fall now.
Absolutely, and that was a great job by that Tarrant defense, really stringing things out, making sure that they're using the boundary as an extra defender. You take another look at the crowd right there.
Yeah, there's some of the folks. They see themselves on the big screen. They're scattered around in the shaded areas here. Again, the stadium is so large, about 25,000 people or so. So you can get lost in the crowd, even when there's not a crowd. There's a fumble on the play, picked up by Tarrant. Big number 51 picks it up, and he is going to hit the ground. I thought maybe he was going to take that one back all the way to Terrius Boyd. We've called his name a lot today. There's a fumble right there on the snap. We've had a problem with that on both sides of the ball today, and then Boyd picks it up, and you see his knee gave out on him a little bit there. Tried to make a little bit of a turn on that turf, and just kind of stuck his leg in the turf.
Walk up behind the red seats on the home side at the end of this game.
Good play there by Boyd. It's a good look at an interior defender that we, as you talked about, have called upon so many times. He's made at least 3 tackles behind the line of scrimmage, really been disruptive in the Tigers' running game in a lot of situations. And I know the Tigers have done a great job of running both inside and out, but on the times they have run inside, Boyd has done a great job, and now you see him lining up on that offensive line as well. So this is a really strong football player that Coach Eric Johnson will lean on this fall.
First down for Tarrant. They get another opportunity here thanks to the fumble. King goes to the air. Short screen pass, and it is dropped yet again. And is Montel Peterson this time. King has not done a bad job throwing the ball, but his receivers have had a very difficult time catching the ball today.
And really, this is the first step of, I would say, 3 different steps that come and lead up to the season. You have spring football, which you have 8 days of practice, and this is considered your 9th day. And then you have camps that come up in the summer, whether you're camping at a college or 7-on-7 camps, and you have a handful of variety of those that come through in the summer, and then you have fall camp and with another interception, 4th one of the day, 2nd one here by number 13 for the Tigers, Alex Cooper.
And again, that was basically thrown right at the defender. The intended receiver was right behind the defender. So the way the pass was thrown, it just went right into the hands of the defense there, number 13. It was actually thrown a little bit behind the route. He didn't lead the receiver quite enough, and that opened it up for that interception. Again, the 4th one of the day for Hatley.
Yeah, you saw him right there, just hitting himself, knowing that the way that play was designed, whether it was on Martell Peterson, who was the receiver, that just don't throw the football into that tight of a situation in that space. Cooper does a great job for the 2nd time today, as we said, coming up with the interception.
Cantrell with the option again, decides to keep it himself, but as he tries to turn the corner, he slides down. Not able to plant that foot to turn very well there. You see the dirt, dusty type stuff that's kicked up every time somebody does that. That is the underlayment of this artificial turf. It's teeny tiny little beads of rubber, and it simulates the ground and the dirt. But it does have a tendency to slide out from under you sometimes if you don't get your foot planted right. Interesting formation here for Hatley. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that before. And the quarterback's going to give it right to the fullback, who's going to gain up to the 45-yard line and pick up the 1st down. And looks like that's going to be Matt Turner, the fullback, Matt Turner.
You know, there's all kinds of different ways to set up before a play. You have your traditional huddle and all kinds of stuff. I've never seen that before in my entire life. And here they're doing it again, and I don't know if this is just to read the defense and see what the defense will line up in. But, I mean, obviously there's only 3 guys on line of scrimmage, so you can't snap the football. So they get it in a more traditional set right here. I'd love to talk to Coach Adams and see what that is.
Cantrell's going to keep it. He'll be dragged down from behind. Another name we've seen a lot today, that's Quandarius Boyd. We have Jatarius Boyd and Quandarius Boyd. Jatarius is a sophomore, and Quandarius is a freshman. And both of the Boyd kids getting a lot of action today on defense.
Doing a great job along that defensive line. And really what your job is when the play goes away from you is just scrape that defensive line and make sure that nothing comes back on the other side, whether it's a reverse or a cutback. So both guys doing a great job of that and then scraping and then coming up with the play.
Another fumble on the snap. It was going straight to Washington. He's hit from behind and fumbles the ball, picked up by Tarrant. And he is not holding on to the ball very well. He fumbles when he is hit. We'll see who comes up with it on the bottom of that pile. But you could see that was a fumble waiting to happen. They say Tarrant keeps the ball, but you could see toward the end there, he was holding it one-handed, not protecting the ball, and you could see that was about to turn into another fumble right there.
Yeah, it's a great job on the scoop, and I don't know if he was looking for somebody to pitch it to. He got in a situation where he got turned around, but it's a give him credit for the front end of that play. Randy Washington does a great job, and then almost loses it but does it. And it's the 2nd time in a row here that we've seen the Tigers fumble the football. Last time, Tarrant went back down and scored a touchdown. Can they do it again here? I know we're knocking on the door at the end of this one with 12 seconds to go, so we'll see what they go with. But I would say give a lot of credit to Hatley in that first half, getting 2 touchdowns, and then the field goal there in the second half. And then the Tigers the Wildcats have really been the aggressors here in the second half, coming up with 2 turnovers and then now a 3rd possession here. We'll see what they do with the football.
So first down at the 40-yard line for Tarrant. Darius King still in the quarterback. Drops back, looks to throw. He's going deep toward the end zone, and pass is complete at the 10-yard line. I think that is the first complete long pass of the day for Tarrant. But that receiver was Jodrell Sturdivant. He's also a freshman, and he's going to stay down after they take him down there at the 10-yard line.
Actually, I think it's Aquavius McCurdy that's number 9, the rising junior. He was the intended receiver on the on the play before as well when they did not connect it. And I can't tell if this is something with his shoulder. Looks like something with his shoulder. He did fall down a little awkwardly.
All right, the quarter has ended, so we're going to go ahead and take the break and be back in just a moment with more of the Gridiron Challenge 2018 at Jacksonville State University.
When it comes to great tasting barbecue, nobody does it better than Dad's Barbecue. Dad's Barbecue is slow cooked to perfection, and Dad's menu now includes burgers, shakes, and delicious cheddar muffins. Large groups are always welcome, and Dad's does catering too. And Dad's offers fast, friendly service, and they're kid friendly. Dine in or drive through. Dad's Barbecue, family owned since 1985, with 2 locations in Anniston to serve you.
Historic Banning Mills is the largest and longest zipline canopy adventure in the world. It's located in your own backyard near Carrollton, Georgia. Historic Banning Mills offers over 9 miles of courses, 52 sky bridges, and over 90 different zip lines, soaring at speeds of up to 60 miles per hour and up to 3,400 feet in length. Most everyone in the family can participate, even the little ones. If that's not enough, climb the Guinness World Record's tallest freestanding rock climbing wall at 14 stories high. Historic Banning Mills also offers horseback riding, kayaking, GPS adventures, birds of prey shows, and much more. So much that you can't fit it all in one day. So stay the night or the whole weekend at their Country Inn Lodge or rent a cabin. Don't take your family, friends, or company retreat just anywhere. Make it unforgettable at Historic Banning Mills.
Welcome back into the Gridiron Challenge as we start the fourth quarter. And the first play of the quarter is overthrown. An incomplete pass for Tarrant. And the coaches have agreed to use a running clock here in the fourth quarter, something that's pretty common. Usually coaches will also put in some of the second and third string players. We may see some different names here in the fourth quarter of these spring games, but a running clock means the clock will not be stopping between plays and things like that, and we'll just run it straight through for the 12 minutes to try to get us a little bit closer to back on track time-wise here at the Regional Gridiron Challenge. Second down and 10 to go, second and goal at the 10-yard line for the Tarrant Wildcats. King with the handoff to Freeman. Freeman is still on his feet. He's going to make it down to about the 2-yard line. Good job there by Freeman, keeping on his feet after being hit by several of the Tiger players.
That might have been the slowest developing play we've seen all day today. He stuck that ball out there, and it was out there seemingly for about 5 seconds before Freeman came in and took it. And Freeman, though, to his credit, does a good job of picking up a lot of positive yards. And Tarrant right now knocking on the door of their second touchdown, and they've done it. If they can put it into the end zone here, they would have done it both times off turnovers.
And there's another touchdown for the Tarrant Wildcats. 2-yard run for the Wildcats. So getting on the board for the second time now here in the fourth quarter. DeMario Freeman, a sophomore running back, with the 2-yard carry for the touchdown.
Just a simple play right here, a lead play, and good blocking. Picks up the yards it needs for the touchdown. But like I said earlier, this was all set up by the defense. Once again, getting a fumble, putting their offense in the short field, using some creativity with their offense, using their playmakers. And King, and then you saw McCurdy come up with a big play on the reception there. We wish him well. Haven't seen him back out since he was a player that was injured right before, so we'll see if we can get a look on him. I think I see him there on the sideline for Tarrant, which is a good sign. So good for Tarrant. I mean, right now that they've come up with a way to get their offense going. They put 2 touchdowns on the board, and Hatley's done the same thing. So a lot of positives to take forward for both teams right now, as extra point attempts is good for Tarrant. So it's 17-13, a very competitive game.
Randy Washington with the left-footed kick through the uprights. Again, we're just going to go with the running clock here, so no stoppage of the clock. Get us back on track time-wise here at the Regional Gridiron Challenge. Coming up immediately following this game. When this game ends, there will be a 10-minute break for warm-ups for the next game, and that game will be Haralson County out of Georgia and Abbeville. Chase Robinson and Mickey Shadricks will have the call of that game. Gerhardt will transition down to the sidelines. And that's the rest of the lineup for the day as well. At 2 o'clock this afternoon, Sumter Central will take on Boaz from up in Marshall County. And that'll wrap up things for us today. Just 3 games on tap today here at the Regional Gridiron Challenge. The Thursday and Friday of next week, we will have the Calhoun County Spring Jam. The Calhoun County teams playing here at JSU. 2 games on Thursday night and 2 games on Friday night. And then we'll wrap up the Gridiron Challenge next Saturday with 4 games starting at 11:30 Saturday morning on next Saturday, the 19th. And we see Hatley back on offense. That's Micah Turner on the carry. He'll get to the 39-yard line near the 40. About a 5-yard gain on the play.
I like the creativity with their offense that Coach Adams has implemented right here. They're really using, I would say, 4 to 5 main guys that carry the football. And we've seen guys like Cantrell and Nick Washington be some of the main players to carry the ball, but they've used them in different ways. And they come out of the single wing, but they've been able to add some creativity to their offense. And it's been really a joy to watch here. Kind of old school football in a lot of ways.
Cantrell still the quarterback. He chooses to keep this one, and they strip the ball from him. And it looks like Hatley may keep it, but we're going to have to see. Tarrant comes up with it. Tarrant with another fumble recovery, and that is Eric Johnson who gets on the ball there. As you can see, Johnson is responsible for stripping the ball from Cantrell and then rolls over on the ball and makes the recovery.
That's something that they've executed well all game long is that option play. But you mentioned it on the very first time that they did it. He held the ball into the receiver's belly, into the fullback's belly just a little longer, which is good if you have a good read play. But right there, Tarrant does a good job of getting in between. That mesh point is what they call it, getting in between the fullback and the quarterback, dislodging the football, getting on top of it. That is now 3 times in a row we've seen the Tarrant defense come up with a fumble. We'll see if they can put it in the end zone for a 3rd straight time.
First down for Tarrant at the 35-yard line. King on the move to the left side, cuts it up toward the goal line, and he'll gain to the 32-yard line. A 3-yard gain on the play. Tarrant with an opportunity to change the outcome of this game right here in the last 5 minutes.
But both times that they've scored, it's been because of the great field position set up by their defense and set up by the turnover. They haven't put together a super long drive from deep in their own territory. So this is a good job right here playing complementary football where the offense and the defense really work symbiotically.
And we're going to take our heat timeout since it is very warm down there on the field. I would venture to say hot down there on the field at this time as we are in the noontime hour. We'll take a quick break and be back with the rest of this matchup in just a moment. The Gridiron Challenge, Jacksonville State University.
I'm Marilyn Hudson. I'm running for district judge. I'm a Christian grandmother, mother, and wife. I want to bring Christian family values back to the family court. Together with my husband, we raised our children as Christians and taught them the meaning of family. We lived every aspect of our life celebrating the true meaning of Christian family values. I can bring those values to the family court and help the folks who find themselves there. Please elect me, Marilyn Hudson, your district judge.
Hi, my name is Reverend Jeffrey C. Williams, the owner and licensed funeral director of Anderson Funeral Services. At Anderson Funeral Services, we are compassionate and caring individuals committed to providing quality and professional service at affordable prices. We are where service begins and never ends, and love is what love does.
Aniston Funeral Services offers affordable services to meet any need for all families. Aniston Funeral Services, 630 South Wilmer Avenue, where service begins and never ends.
Now we're back to Jacksonville State University for the Regional Gridiron Challenge. Fourth quarter action with a running clock at Tarrant. Threatening to score another touchdown here. You missed they're not stopping play while we go to the commercial break, so you missed a nice run by King to pick up a first down at the 22-yard line for the Wildcats. This time King goes with the handoff. And that is DeMario Freeman. He gets the call. They're going to mark him down at the 18-yard line, so a 5-yard gain to bring up second down for Tarrant.
He's short in stature, but he's a really strong player, and it took about 4 Tigers to bring him down. We saw that on that, wasn't a intentionally delayed, but a delayed handoff either way on the last possession. So Tarrant coming up with some running options here outside of King.
Second down and 5. The Wildcats on the move. Okay, there was a handoff, and then he tried to toss it back, and they mishandled the toss. Looks like Tarrant's still going to have the ball there. We look at that again. That handoff goes to Eric Johnson, and Johnson gets in trouble, so he tosses it back to King. I don't know if that was planned or just spur of the moment, but King wasn't ready for it. You see it from another angle here. Johnson's fumbling around with the ball the whole time.
I'll tell you what, if it was planned, if it's a play like that, there has to be a fire call or an out call, or let's just audible out of this, because there was nothing there for Tarrant, and we've seen Tarrant move backwards in a lot of ways. That's a new way that they move backwards, and they've put themselves really behind the chains. It's a good shot there of Coach Johnson. We spoke before the game. This is a team coming off a really strong season, but they lost a lot of players. Last year they won a region championship. They went 5-1 in their region, won 7 games overall. But it's also a team that lost a lot of rising seniors, a lot of the guys in their junior class. There's only 5 guys listed on the roster that we have from last year's team that will be rising seniors. So they lost a lot from last year's team. So even though they have a lot of guys that played on a successful team last year, it's relatively a new bunch. So dealing with a lot of the kind of growing pains that come with a young squad.
Third down now and about 20 for Tarrant. The clock continues to roll here in a second. King with the handoff again. Same play. And this time it works out pretty well. They'll get to the 23-yard line. Eric Johnson on the carry. As is typical here in Alabama, in our part of Alabama, we have gone pretty much from winter to summer just in a couple of days. It has gotten really hot. 88 degrees is our National Weather Service temperature. But down there on that turf, as John talked earlier, it is really getting hot down there on the turf. We're probably looking at close to 100 degrees down there with the heat coming off of that artificial turf. I've been down there for ceremonies in the summertime with dress shoes where the heat coming through the soles of your shoes was so hot it made it uncomfortable to stand on that turf down there. So that's going to be an issue they're going to be dealing with throughout the day today. King looking to throw again. Goes toward the end zone, overthrows his intended receiver. The intended receiver was Montel Peterson, and he throws it just a little bit long for an incomplete pass.
And that'll be a turnover on downs. This is a solid job there by the Tiger secondary. Once again, they've come up with 4 interceptions, and that'll be kind of the main story as far as a stat goes. But overall, really throughout the game, they've played really solidly back there, and there's only been one long play for the Wildcat offense through the pass.
So the turnover on downs, and Hatley will have 2 minutes of a running clock to try a couple of more plays from the 23-yard line. See what they pull out of their back pockets here. Same personnel still in. Cantrell still at quarterback. Gets a good lead around the near side, and he'll stumble across the 30-yard line out to the 33. And that should be, they'll be just past the 33. They'll mark him all the way to the 34, so that's a first down for the Hatley Tigers.
It's really strong when your quarterback is a good runner, when your fullback is a good runner, and when your tailback is a strong runner. But all of those guys can not only run, but they can block. And we've seen Coach Adams utilize, whether it's Cantrell, Washington. We've also seen Micah in a lot of ways as well, where they're used in different positions within the offense. And when you have weapons that are as versatile as those guys are, it creates some really, really powerful potential to make big plays on offense. And so far that's what you've seen, especially out of their running game. So Hatley would be one of those teams where if they can get out to a quick lead on a team, they've shown the ability to create long drives and really shorten the game time down. So we'll see if they do that throughout their season. We'll keep an eye on them. I know they play over there in Mississippi, but all the teams that come in are a part of this thing at Jacksonville State. We really like to keep an eye on them, at teams out of Georgia and Tennessee and Mississippi as well. So one of the things to look forward to for Hatley as they look to improve upon another 4-7 season last year, look to win another their first region championship and their second playoff appearance in school history.
This should be the last play, and they are simply going to take a knee. And the first game is in the books. So the Hatley Tigers and the Tarrant Wildcats, the first game of the day for the TV24 Regional Gridiron Challenge at Jacksonville State University. 2 more games to go. We'll tell you about those in a little bit. The Gridiron Challenge is brought to you by, in part by Dunn's Heating and Cooling here in East Alabama. Give Dunn's a call if you have any air conditioning problems as the heat starts to rise. We're going to have a 10-minute break between the games here. We're trying to find a couple of the coaches to have a little conversation with the coaches. We'll have a 10-minute break between the games, and our next game will be Haralson County out of Georgia and Abbeville. Chase Robinson and Mickey Shadricks will have the call on that game, and we'll get that for you here in just a moment as we look for they're looking for the coaches on the field right now to have them come over and have a chat with us. But Gerhard, your takeaways from this first game so far today?
Really competitive, and one of the things that I saw from both teams, Hatley had a really strong offensive possession, a few offensive possessions there in the first half. Tarrant really took off there in the second half. Tarrant really did well playing complementary football, letting their defense set up their offense opposite for Hatley. So we'll see how both teams go. But first, we'll send it over to John with both Coach Adams and Coach Johnson.
All right, guys, we're here with both coaches from both teams. We'll begin with Coach Eric Johnson first of Tarrant. Coach, I know had a great season last year, best season you had in about a decade or so. Lost a lot of guys off that team. So as you transition from last year to this year and trying to keep the momentum going, what did you see out here today?
Well, I saw a lot of places where we can grow. That's why I'm trying to keep my guys enthused. Don't worry about the mistakes that we're making right now. We'll look at the film and we'll go back and correct as much of that as we possibly can.
You got one thing for sure. You got a good taste of the heat that you're going to see in August and September here today, right?
Yes, sir. It's always hot when we come down here and play. Our feet are burning up out here. We appreciate the officials giving us as many water breaks as they did.
Finally, before we let you get out of here, what did it mean for your team to come and play here in the college stadium on turf, television, all that kind of stuff?
It's always great when you can expose young kids to atmospheres such as this. They enjoy it, and I enjoy bringing them down.
Coach, best of luck this fall. Have a safe trip back to Birmingham.
Yes, sir.
Eric Johnson, head coach of the Tarrant Wildcats. Great sportsmanship here. Coach Kid Adams, guys, not a stranger to Alabama high school football. Coached 24 years here, but you've only really been at Hatley about 10 months. You came late June last year from Susan Moore over to Hatley. The transition, I think, probably still happening, right?
It is. It is some. Like I said, I felt like our days in the spring we were able to get a little bit better. It was about halfway through the year last year before they really realized what we were saying, and so it's been a transition.
You run the single wing. Our guys upstairs late in the third quarter. You broke the huddle in some ways that we haven't quite seen before. They wanted me to ask you about that.
Yeah, it's called chaos. Yeah, we were able to do some things, and we want to be able to shift every play, movement, and that way it's harder for the defense to kind of line up.
You came at, I think, left about 5:30 or 6 o'clock this morning from Hatley to come over here. Had a great crowd here. I think you had a fan bus and so forth that came over here, about to go down to Oxford and eat some pizzas, I understand it. And just the experience of coming over and playing in a venue like this for your team in spring, what was that like?
Well, it was amazing for our kids. I mean, honestly, it was. You know, the people that put it on here are fantastic, but it was something that our kids have not been able to, you know, experience until today. And I think it created some excitement, you know, through the spring. In the community and the school and the kids. So it was a great experience.
You're a Mississippi guy. You came over here for 24 years at places like Calera and McAdory and across the line there at Lamar County and most recently at Susan Moore. But differences in high school football in Alabama and Mississippi, what have you seen in 10 months?
It's different. You know, I tell people a lot of times there is a difference. There's a difference. I'm not saying good or bad on either or, but you know, there is a difference. But I grew up in Mississippi, and then I love the places I've been in Alabama, and I'm glad to be back close to home, to family, and I'm glad to have the opportunity to coach at Hatley.
Coach, thank you for being with us. Have a safe trip back. Enjoy some good pizza and some cool temperatures, and have a great 2018 season.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Ken Adams, head coach of the Hatley Tigers here at JSU Stadium as we get ready for game number 2, guys.
Thank you very much, John Holder, our sideline reporter for our first game of the day today between the Hatley Tigers and the Tarrant Wildcats. As we get ready for the next game, that's going to be Haralson County and Abbeville. Chase Robinson and Nikki Shadricks will be back after the break with the call for game number 2, the Regional Gridiron Challenge.
When it comes to great tasting barbecue, nobody does it better than Dad's Barbecue. Dad's Barbecue is slow cooked to perfection, and Dad's menu now includes burgers, shakes, and delicious cheddar muffins. Large groups are always welcome, and Dad's does catering too. And Dad's offers fast, friendly service, and they're kid-friendly. Dine in or drive through. Dad's Barbecue, family owned since 1985, with 2 locations in Anniston to serve you.
Historic Banning Mills is the largest and longest zipline canopy adventure in the world. It's located in your own backyard near Carrollton, Georgia. Historic Banning Mills offers over 9 miles of courses, 52 sky bridges, and over 90 different zip lines, soaring at speeds of up to 60 miles per hour and up to 3,400 feet in length. Most everyone in the family can participate, even the little ones. If that's not enough, climb the Guinness World Record's tallest freestanding rock climbing wall at 14 stories high. Historic Banning Mills also offers horseback riding, kayaking, GPS adventures, birds of prey shows, and much more. So much that you can't fit it all in one day. So stay the night or the whole weekend at their Country Inn Lodge or rent a cabin. Don't take your family, friends, or company retreat just anywhere. Make it unforgettable at Historic Banning Mills.
The job title is Calhoun County Coroner, but I believe it is so much more than just a job title. Jobs can be taught, but this job requires compassion. Unlike a job, true compassion cannot be taught. This position touches people's lives, and how situations are handled will affect people's lives. I have worked in the EMS field for over 15 years. One of my positive traits is my God-given ability to show true compassion in bad situations. I commit to treat your family just as I would want my family to be treated. It's really just that simple. I'm Tom Slick, and thank you for your vote on June 5th.
At Family Health and Wellness Center in Oxford, we treat you like family.
Their appointments are always available. I never feel rushed or like I'm bothering them if I call, and Dr. Edmond is just always happy to see every patient.
It ain't like you going to some of these others, you go in there and don't know what doctor you're going to get to see. This is the doctor when you come, this is the man you will see.
I wouldn't go anywhere else. There's nobody else I trust.
Family Health and Wellness Center in Oxford. One visit and you'll know you're a member of the family.